So, hello everyone. Karen and Neil. Karen and Neil, Private Label University. We are so excited to be back here live with you. So, we have a bunch of stuff we want to talk with you about today. But before we do, let's see who is actually online here. So if you are online, if you are watching this, please jump in. Just let us know that you're here because today we have some really important information, especially if you are in the process of waiting for products to come overseas to either your Amazon, to the Amazon warehouse or to your own warehouse. So this Facebook Live is all about what happens on the other side and getting your products over here and what's going on right now in the news and in the importing industry and how it's going to affect you and your business with products. So for example, if you're bringing in products, whether it's through Alibaba or through a supplier from China, say for example, into the US or Canada or Europe, and it's going directly to, say, an Amazon warehouse or to your warehouse, there are certain legislation that has been passed, certain things that are going on in the shipping industry, in the importing industry that you need to know about before you actually bring your products over. And that's what today's about. So we're going to talk about the facts that you need to know before you ship anything out of China to Amazon or to your warehouse.
And like Karen said, there's rules and regulations being implemented all the time when products are being shipped from every country. But the main thing is when it's coming onto North American soil. And a lot of people aren't aware of this. We keep up to date on this literally every day. We get updates. We speak to between the ports and port authorities and logistics companies, making sure that we are up to date all the time. And almost like real time of what's happening, because it plays a very important part, especially to a lot of our clients who rely on us to give them the information as far as what's happening and challenges they may encounter with products coming over. We'd all like to think that logistic companies know everything, and a lot of times when they're working there, they just don't, they're not keeping up to date in the news. And for us, it's very important knowing real time of what's happening at the ports. People always think, if you're living in the West Coast, that shipments are only arriving in the West Coast ports, but there's also East Coast ports as well. And we have to understand that sometimes there are changes that go in all the different ports. So again, having this information is a key when you're bringing in your products and being up to date on any changes.
So we're going to talk about 3 really important things that you need to know before, hey there, that you need to know before you actually ship your products, right? We're going to talk about, there's tons of important things that you need to know, but today we're going to talk about 3 really important things that you need to know before you're going to start shipping anything over, because all these things are going to affect not only how long it's going to take, the cost, it's going to affect your bottom line, it's going to affect your profits, it's going to affect really everything. So it's really important to know this. So the first thing is you need to know the best time of year to ship your products. And I know this sounds like a no-brainer, right? But believe it or not, this is a huge mistake that people don't take into consideration that could in the end cost you a lot of money. So let's talk about that for a second.
Right. So we all have to know that, anytime you take a vacation and you're not at your business, of course, it will delay shipments getting to your customers. So within the global aspect of things, there are holidays. There are very important holidays that you have to know about. And so
Which we're going to talk about the holidays in a second. I want to talk right now, focusing on the the best time of the year to ship. So for example, let's talk about the email that we just got.
Right. So we just got an up-to-date email on shipments that are arriving into North American soil right now. So typically, there's certain what's called a GRI, a general rate increase, or a PSS, a peak season surcharge, that companies, ocean freight companies, as well as trucking companies, implement as a surcharge on shipments. And normally it doesn't happen as early as August. Typically they'll fall in place. They talk about it in September. They fall in place closer towards what we're going to call the holiday season, October, November, December, towards the end of the year, when they know that everyone wants to start shipping their products and rushing them in towards the end of the year. So what they do is they raise the cost of the shipping costs. And so there's that general rate increase. And this year, the ports have been so busy. Companies are trying to ship so much into North America or export them outside of China that the shipping lines are saying, you know what, we're actually going to implement them now. We're going to put them in place in August, typically at least 30 days earlier than they normally go into place. So if you didn't ship your products from China in June or even July, or if you didn't get them booked in the month of July, you're going to have that rate increase. And some of those increases actually are as high as $1,700 on a container. That's a huge amount. That's really going to affect your bottom line. And that's why when we talk to in our classes and our teaching about knowing your landed cost, those are things you have to worry about. So again, knowing those times of year, that's going to be less. This year, companies are getting hit much earlier on those peak season surcharges and that general rate increase that typically happen later in the summer.
So remember, okay, so August is what we're talking about. So we're kind of, tomorrow's August. So we're kind of in that. However, keep in mind too, another very busy time at the ports and where prices also go up is going to be in October, because you're getting closer and closer to the holiday season. So for next year, even to plan ahead and to know that it's really, really important to not just jump into it, to have a plan. So you're planning ahead to know exactly what the importing side looks like, not just only when you're planning your private labeling and your branding, because that takes some time. You also have to take in consideration the importing side, because there's, manufacturing time, there's shipping time, how long it takes a shipment to come over. And then again, of course, booking, whether it's free freight or if it's containers, to make sure you're ahead of that time frame. So the key dates or months to really consider are August, this year, right now, August, all the way up until, again, when we're hit again in October, right before the holidays. So keep that in mind. If you have things in the works and it's going to be coming out in the new year, speak with your customs broker, speak with your shipping companies, and make sure that everyone is in sync and they're working together and they are ahead of the game and they know what's the best way to bring your stuff in and the most cost effective for you, so that you can then keep more money in your pocket. Sometimes
not moving your product faster because maybe you don't need it for another couple months. If you delay the shipping time, you actually could save a lot of money. People think, oh, I'm just going to rush it in because I paid $1,000 last month. It's probably going to be $1,000 this month. But again, with those rate increases, with those peak season charges, there's other added hidden fees that you may not know about that could fall in other months. Sometimes it's better to delay 20 or 30 days if you can afford to do that, and you'll save yourself sometimes thousands of dollars on those shipments.
And when we're working with our clients, this is some of the things because when we work, you get our team, right? So you're working with us, you're getting our team of amazing brokers and shipping companies and our staff, and we're all working together to help work through all that. So there are some great strategies that we use to help keep more money in your pocket. One of the other things I want to kind of jump into, and we've talked about this before, and you can head over to our website, Private Label University, and head over to that website and you will find a list of the holidays that you need to be aware of that will affect the products that you're bringing in and the times that they bring in. And that's kind of the next thing we want to focus on. Another important fact that you need to be aware of is know the holidays, right? Because holidays will impact your shipment for sure.
Mm-hmm. We commonly just look at our own holidays. We look at, from Halloween to New Year's and Christmas and Thanksgiving. And, your July 4th weekend, all the typical holidays, President's Day. However, you're buying products from other countries. Not just in Asia, could be in Europe. There's other holidays that they have, and you really have to be aware of them because, again, that can delay your shipments coming in. Typically, when we have a holiday here, it could be 1 or 2 days, but sometimes the national holidays, especially in China, could last a week, if not longer, depending if a lot of the staff and manufacturing staff live outside the region. They could be going home. Sometimes those, the factory could close down for 2 to 3 weeks. So you really have to prepare for that and know when those times set in, because if it also falls into when there's another holiday here, then of course you're going to have that problem at the ports. Customs, customs will have, they'll take part in, of course, they're closed for national holidays. It's not like your typical business. And when they do, your shipments are going to be affected as well. So you really have to be aware of that.
So just know in October, the first week of October, for an entire week, that may affect your shipment. There is a Chinese holiday, the Autumn Festival, and so you need
a whole
to
week,
be
first week of October.
Aware of that because it will affect your shipment. Another thing you need to be aware of is you need to know the value of your products that you're bringing in. And I'm talking about the whole value, your landed cost, something that we dive into deeply at our live event here in Colorado at the Private Label Blueprint Workshop. We dive in deep. You need to know your numbers. And there's so many hidden costs. There's so many hidden things that so many entrepreneurs or newbies are not taking into consideration. And then what happens is once you get your products and you're launched up on Amazon or on eBay or on other online sites or on your website, what happens is those costs are hidden. And what happens is the bottom line is less money in your pocket, right? So you got to really make sure you know that number, you know that whole value.
And again, it's not that it's being hidden from you, but these are things that you have to be aware of when you get your invoices from shipping companies, logistics agents, customs brokers. You have to be aware of all the charges that they're going to charge you on that product to get it to your door. So once you get a quote from the factory, that's one price. Then you have to know the next price that it's going to land you in and add that percentage to the cost of your product. Because again, a lot of the marketers we see who are maybe advertising, oh, here's the price from China, it's 5 cents, but that's not your cost once it hits your door. Again, there's tariffs and taxes and fees, which is another whole other
Facebook Live.
That's another Facebook Live that we'll dive into, because there's been a lot of changes now within the harmonized tariff codes as well. So again, landed costs isn't your factory cost. Landed cost is all the costs included at your door for you waiting to ship that. And
and we have a formula that you go through. And, we get asked a lot, how do I figure out that price? How do I know how much I should be investing? How do I know that these numbers are going to actually make me money? And all that we talk about at the live event, where we use a formula, we use our process, our strategies that we have been using for the last 3 decades, 35 plus years, when, private labeling products for some of the largest chain stores. So we have a formula that we use in order to take into consideration all these costs that are really your whole number that you need to be going in with, so that you can then either set the price for wholesale, set the price for retail, set the price for online sales. And it all starts from this part of the process, the beginning stages of the process. So we have a little bit of time left, and I want to kind of just jump in really quickly here and just talk about some news, some new things that have just been released to the news in the private label sector. And let's just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll wrap up, because I know we're giving you a ton of information. It's a lot of information to know, but I do want to mention that at our live event, which is coming up September 20th to 23rd. We would love to see you here in Colorado and work directly with us. It's a 3-day live event where it's a workshop. So it's a very small group, and we walk through and teach you the private label process to products, to building your own branded products. And you were going to leave the event with your own private label blueprint. So you're going to have the whole process. We're going to walk you through the whole process with Neil and I by your side. And then we take it up a notch. We actually share with you, those who come to the live event, we share with you our team of customs brokers and shipping and everything that you need, the tools that you need to private label a product. So we are going to teach and share with you our resources for that at the live event. And we would love for you to be there. We do have a few more spots available. Love for you to be a part of it. And at the end of this Facebook Live, I will post a link so that if you want more information about it. The nice thing is you're going to have the entire process done. We start implementing with you live. So it's not just teaching and learning and speaking, like we don't have speakers come in. It's all about hands-on implementation, walking you with you and us. We're by your side, walking with you through the process and implementing with you. So it's pretty awesome. This is our last one for the year. So it's a perfect time. You can get ready for the high seasons, with a season that's coming in really quickly as it approaches. So we're going to do this all in 3 days, get you up, get you started, and get you ready for the holidays, the big season. So this is our last one for the year.
And I just want to say something to Karen, because we find it sometimes humorous at times. Mm-hmm. Private labeling isn't something new. I've been private labeling for over 35 years. I was private labeling for stores back in the 80s. And so, now I think a lot of marketers have just kind of used the words to make it sound sexy, like it's a new thing, but private labeling has been around for a long time. And we show you the course of what to do at our live events, which is really, I think, valuable to so many people who attend our events.
So I'll keep this up just so you can see the link to the to find more information about it. You can just put in a bit.ly code, and it's PLU Colorado, and it'll take you to the site, and you can have a look there and see what it's all about. But again, like I said, it's small. We only have a few spots left because it's very personal. You get that private one-on-one coaching with us. You get access to our 50+ video online training, and you get the live training as well, plus a ton of support and one-on-one coaching. So check that out. It's pretty awesome. We've got some pretty good feedback from that. So let's just talk a little bit about a couple of things that are in the news right now that will affect you if you are private labeling and importing products from overseas. Let's talk a little bit about contract negotiations and the strikes that have been going on or could happen at any time at the ports.
So at a number of the ports, especially in the East Coast has been bombarded with more and more shipments coming through. And that's typically where people have found that in the West Coast, they had so many vessels coming in that they were getting backed up. And a lot of logistics companies said, well, you know what, instead of moving to the West Coast, you're kind of mid-country, we're going to move it to the East Coast. Well, that's great. East Coast is moving. Now the East Coast is getting backed up, and now it's a little less congested at the West Coast. So what happens is, as soon as it gets too busy, as much as my love-hate for unions, what happens is the port directors and the port workers, they say, you know what, we're too busy, we're underpaid. So we want to renegotiate our contracts. And once that happens, whoosh, things shut down, things get slower. I think I'm going to unload that container a little bit slower than I normally do. And then, of course, vessels back up, ocean liners get angry, and what happens is they're in negotiations. So it happens all the time. A lot of time it's not really public in the news. Mm-hmm. We hear about it because we stay, like I say, real time with directors all the time and all the ports to know what's going on. And people have to be aware of that.
And I want to point out, too, Neil's talked about it too. We're not marketers. We work in the trenches, right? We private label products, we private label brands for a lot of companies, as well as ourselves, right? Yes, we do. We sell on Amazon, we sell online, but a lot of our business, majority of our business is still in retail. So we need to be on top of this. Our team needs to be on top of this. We need to make sure that we know what's going on behind the scenes, because all this stuff affects your business, affects our business as well. So, And it's not something that you have access to or most people have access to. That's why it is so important to make sure that you align yourself with the right people to get this information, because you may have a few shipments that have already come in, or you're just starting. The whole importing stuff, it's pretty scary. I mean, it is. It's scary, and it should be. And that is another reason why, going back to our live event, when we share with you our team, our importing team, and the reason we do that is to take that scary step out of the private label process so that you can do what you're good at, right? Finding products, developing a brand, and running the business, right? You don't need to have to deal with all that importing stuff. It's as you can hear, even just talking about it, it can be overwhelming, and there's so much stuff that can happen
but you have
that
to
is
know
out of your control.
Right, but you have to know what's going on, and that's a key part of, again, when you're private labeling it and importing your shipments. It's good to be aware of what's happening, and you're kept in the loop of what's happening, because the last thing you want to hear is you're all prepared. Your shipment's going to come in on that Wednesday, and you're all excited, and you're getting ready to send it out FBA, and they tell you it's going to be another 10 days. Oh, and now it might be another 12 days.
Or there's a price increase.
Or there's a price increase, or there's a trucking delay. So again, something that can affect your business. We make sure that we're well informed daily, so we know that it can affect our clients as well as our business and other companies' businesses.
So another thing that has come up too, which a lot of people don't take, when you're talking about how it could affect your business, different things that you don't hear about, let's talk about the fuel increases.
Fuel increases. So, fuel runs everything, right? You think about, it's just my car, or it's just my motorcycle. Well, all the Amazon trucks, right? They're not electric, so they're running with by fuel, by petrol. The ocean vessels, right? Those run on fuel. So typically, they're always raising fuel charges on the ocean line. So when you get in, they say, well, this month it might be an extra $180, $200, $300 because of fuel surcharges. And then what happens when that hike goes up? Then the trucking company's saying, you know what? Oh, we have to pick up a lot more containers. We're picking up a lot more, even at the local inland companies that are delivering the containers to your warehouses. What they say is, oh, fuel's up. It's going to be an extra $70 on this shipment. Again, all those little bits add to your end and your bottom line of your profit margins.
So again, going back to what Neil just said, going back to what we talk about, knowing your whole value. Just because the first time you brought a shipment in, this is how much it is, doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing the next time. Right. And your price needs to reflect, or you're going to end up losing money. I can't tell you how many times we've had consulting calls or people reaching out to us because they're following all these different things from YouTube and from Facebook and from all the social media of things to do, and in the end they're losing money on Amazon. You should not be losing money with your products. So again, you have to know the whole picture and know these little things, because they are going to affect your bottom line, right? So that's one of the things we make sure that when we're working with you, especially one-on-one with our private clients, we make sure that all that is taken care of, because you want to make sure that you're making money, right?
Well
and
said.
It may look like you're making money because of what you see, but in the end, when you look at that bank account and where is it? Where are those hidden things that I missed? Because where's the money going?
Right. And then your bookkeeper says, well, last invoice was different. It's not like you're sending it USPS with a stamp. That 52 cents it may cost you for sending that package or that envelope, it's not consistent when you're starting to move products overseas or coming in via ocean. So whether it be loose freight or full containers, it's never exactly the same.
And even just what we talked about too, about the October and April and knowing when those price hikes increases are, so that all that takes effect and will affect the bottom line. Again, will trickle into what you're selling the product for, what your profit margins are, etc. So you need to be aware of all that. So anything you want to add?
That's it. Know your bottom line, know your landed cost, and be profitable.
So if you like today's Facebook Live, please comment. We'd love to hear from you. If there's anything that you would love for us to discuss, to educate you on, or want some feedback, or interested in doing a Q&A, we can kind of jump into your business. We could do that live as well. Let us know. We would love to try to, support you in any way we can. Again, if you're interested in our live event in September, we have a few spots available. This is our last one for the year. Usually, we always sell out with the event, so it's still a little bit of time. We will be closing down registration in a couple of weeks, so make sure that if you are interested, you grab your seat. As I was going to say, as you can see in our office here, but you can't really see, we have limited space, so we make sure that we keep the classrooms small, and it also gives us a better opportunity to be able to work with you one-on-one and help you within your business. So thanks for joining us. Please comment, let us know your thoughts, how we can help you, and we hope to see you here in beautiful Colorado. It's gorgeous in September here, so we hope to see you here.
We look forward to seeing you soon, and we'll talk to you on our next live Facebook.
Thanks.